So, in answer to your question, uh, don't think about when he says consciousness in the context of science, modern science today, and physics, and neuroscience, and psychology. The term consciousness has different levels. So if you trace life all the way back to the first cell or the first protein, we trace our life, us, the ultimate expression of consciousness of life. We can trace our origin all the way back to the first life, which is a protein. And then a DNA structure, a strand that reproduced itself into a cell without a nucleus, then a nucleated cell, and then multiple cells. In other words, there was a code, there was an information, there was life striving to be out of nothing, apparent nothing. Just like the universe emerged, we don't fully understand it, but out of what would be emptiness. So too, so we look at matter as the universe and planets and solar systems as emerging from infinite space. So too we see life emerging from this emptiness, but this not just a nothing emptiness, it's a fertile, it's a creative, plenipotent field of energy is what science is showing us now. All realms of science, especially with the breakthroughs with quantum physics and now string theory, although these are still theories, but it's generally accepted. So we see that life and matter, biotic and abiotic, both spring from this place of what we previously conceived of emptiness or nothingness. That's why people are confused when they come to the angst and enemy of feeling that life is meaningless because it's just some chance chemical reaction. But what science is finding now, that there's a striving for organization. We used to feel that previously, in the age of Newtonian physics, classical physics, or this idea of entropy, that left alone natural systems tend to degrade and decay. And what we're finding now with new researchers is that no, life and systems seek complexity, and we see that in the course of who we've become, tracing life from its earliest origin, which they can do now, how life first began, how the first proteins evolved, to where we are now. It's a process of complexity, isn't it? So it's not just and it's not simply just survival of the fittest. It's a marriage, it's a synergy, it's a synthesis between the organism, the organelle, the cell, and the environment. In other words, quite literally, there's no separation between the two, because one evolves with the other. As the atmosphere forms and the oceans form, then perhaps the first proteins and then the first cells formed within those bodies, the atmosphere and the ocean. The first gases form, the first molecules form conjointly with the manifestation of planets and solar systems. So we can't really separate the origin of life from matter, from biotic and abiotic, because they're both composed of the same thing. And if we take it all back, we find what is found this field of energy, this universal field of undifferentiated potential. This is science. This is not some mystical bullshit. This is what, if you study physics and the new cosmology, and you listen to the lectures at the prestigious universities around the world, this is what science is saying now. Now everyone's excited about it. It's not popular knowledge yet, because nothing that's easy to understand becomes popular till maybe 30 years after it's already established in science. So this undifferentiated field from which all arises, the universe, and then later life. So the idea is that in a systems theory, nothing evolves, nothing becomes without it being also an expression of the environment, the constraints and the opportunities that are presented to the environment. So these things grow together organically. So then we could say, by extension, the earth then, the life that forms on earth cannot be separate from the earth. It's not separate from the air pressure, from the gases in the environment, from the minerals in the soil, from the abiotic nutrients that are bound together in molecules that then form cells by some mysterious, still mysterious yet unknown animating force. Okay, so this is a code. This is a system. This is a system of seeking for complexity, of building upon building upon building, and it's not just survival of the fittest. It's not just a mutation. In other words, it's not just what Darwin thought and now is rejected. It's that, oh, there's some chance mutation that allowed the fish to walk on land, or the mitochondria to emerge within the cell and start producing oxygen, so that plant life can, carbon dioxide can be used to produce oxygen. Some mutation that made the cheetah run faster, or the seal have thicker fur or more blubber. That's out. A chance mutation, that whole idea is out. So we're looking at systems seeking complexity through a natural synthesis, or organic marriage, or sharing of being with the environment. So nothing grows. Your bones, every cell in your body, your muscle tissue, your heart, your lungs, your circulatory system is all directly related to the elements in the in the environment. Your structure, your density of your bones, the muscle mass. That's why if people go in space, they start to have circulatory problems. Even though if they're in their artificial environment, circulatory problems and bone loss and structural problems, and eventually they die because the body is only it's perfect. It's sprung from the earth through this course of evolution, of selective intelligence. So there's a sort of, when we say consciousness, yes, we have consciousness, and the difference between us and the rest of life, down to the most single cell, or even the atom or the molecule, is that we know that we're conscious. In other words, like if you look at your dog, the dog is, well, I already ran over with this. I'll have to redo it.